Om Jnana-timirandasya Kinanjana Salakaya Sakshur-militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Vanchakalpatarupyascha Kripa-sindubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namama Varanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chapter 25, How all the residents of Varanasi became Vaishnavas. Text 102. The essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities in that connection, and the goal of life is manifest in the 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Chatusloki. Everything is explained in those verses. Lord Krishna says, I am the center of all relationships. Knowledge of me and the practical application of that knowledge is actual knowledge. Approaching me for devotional service is called Abhideya. By rendering devotional service, one gradually rises to the platform of love of Godhead. That is the chief goal of life. On the platform of love of Godhead, one is eternally engaged in the service of the Lord. Please hear attentively what I shall speak to you, for transcendental knowledge about me is not only scientific, but full of mysteries. O Brahma, I shall explain all these truths to you. Since you are a living being, Jiva, without my explanation, you will not be able to understand your relationship with me, devotional activity, and life's ultimate goal. I shall explain to you my actual form and situation, my attributes, activities, and 6 opulences. Lord Krishna assured Lord Brahma, by my mercy all these things will be awakened in you. Saying this, the Lord began to explain the 3 truths, tattvas, to Lord Brahma. By my causeless mercy, be enlightened in truth about my personality, manifestations, qualities, and pastimes. Before the creation of the cosmic manifestation, the Lord said, I existed, and the total material energy, material nature, and the living entities all existed in me. After creating the cosmic manifestation, I entered into it. Whatever you see in the cosmic manifestation is but an expansion of my energy. When the whole universe dissolves, I remain full in myself, and everything that will manifest is again preserved in me. Prior to the cosmic manifestation, only I exist, and no phenomena exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I remain eternally. In the verse beginning, Aham Eva, the word Aham is expressed 3 times. In the beginning, there are the words Aham Eva. In the second line, there are the words Paschat Aham. At the end are the words So Smi Aham. This Aham indicates the Supreme Person. By the repetition of Aham, the transcendental personality, who is complete with 6 opulences, is confirmed. Impersonalists do not accept the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is stressed in this verse in order to impress upon them the necessity of accepting Him. Therefore, the word Aham is mentioned 3 times. To stress something important, one repeats it 3 times. Lord Krishna continued, actual spiritual knowledge and its practical application are considered in all these sound vibrations. Although the eternal energy comes from me, I am different from it. Sometimes a reflection of the sun is experienced in place of the sun, but its emulation is never possible independent of the sun. When one is transcendentally situated, he can perceive me. This perception is the basis of one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. Now let me further explain this subject matter. What appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of a real light in the shadows, for in the light there are neither shadow nor reflections. Now please hear from me about the process of devotional service, which is applicable in any country, for any person at all times and in all circumstances. As far as religious principles are concerned, there is consideration of the person, the country, the time, and the circumstance. In devotional service, however, there are no such considerations. Devotional service is transcendental to all such considerations. It is therefore the duty of every man, in every country, in every circumstance, and at all times, to approach a bona fide spiritual master, question him about devotional service, and listen to him explain the process. A person interested in transcendental knowledge must therefore always directly and indirectly inquire about it to know about the all-pervading truth. Supreme affection for me is called love of Godhead, and that is the ultimate goal of life. Let me explain by a practical example the natural characteristic of such love. The 5 material elements are existing inside and outside of every living entity. Similarly, I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, am manifest within the heart of the devotee as well as outside his body. As the material elements enter the bodies of all living beings and yet remain outside them all, I exist within all material creations and yet I am not within them. A highly elevated devotee can bind me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his heart by love. Wherever he looks, he sees me and nothing else. Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who destroys everything inauspicious for his devotees, does not leave the hearts of his devotees, even if they remember him and chant about him inattentively. This is because the rope of love always binds the Lord within the devotees' hearts. Such devotees should be accepted as most elevated. A person advanced in devotional service sees within everything the soul of souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Consequently, he always sees the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the cause of all causes and understands that all things are situated in him. All the gopis assembled to chant the transcendental qualities of Krishna very loudly, and they began to wander from one forest to another like mad women. They began to inquire about the Lord, who is situated in all living entities, internally and externally. Indeed, they even asked all the plants and vegetables about him, the Supreme Person. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, thus one's relationship with the Lord, activities in devotional service, and the attainment of the highest goal of life, love of Godhead, are the subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth is known by the self-realized souls as a unified identity known by different names: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before the cosmic manifestation was created, the creative propensity was merged in the Supreme Lord's person. At that time, all potencies and manifestations were preserved in his personality. The Lord is the cause of all causes, and he is the all-pervading, self-sufficient person. Before the creation, he existed with his spiritual potency in the spiritual world, wherein various Vaikuntha planets are manifested. All these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the Lord is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. This is one's eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now please hear about the execution of devotional service. This principle pervades each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna said, "Being very dear to the devotees and sadhus, I am attained through unflinching faith and devotional service. This bhakti yoga system, which gradually increases attachment for me, purifies even a human being born among dog eaters. That is to say, everyone can be elevated to the spiritual platform by the process of bhakti yoga." The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna said, "My dear Uddhava, neither through Astanga Yoga, the mystic yoga system, to control the senses, nor through impersonal monism, or an analytical study of the absolute truth, nor through study of the Vedas, nor through austerities, charity, or acceptance of sannyas, can one satisfy me as much as by developing unalloyed devotional service unto me. When the living entity is attracted by the material energy, which is separate from Krishna, he is overpowered by fear, because he is separated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the material energy. His conception of life is reversed. In other words, instead of being the eternal servant of Krishna, he becomes Krishna's competitor. This is called Viparyayo Smriti. To nullify this mistake, one who is actually learned and advanced worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his spiritual master, worshipful deity, and source of life. He thus worships the Lord by the process of unalloyed devotional service. Now hear from me what actual love of Godhead is. It is the prime object of life and is symptomized by bodily trembling, tears in the eyes, chanting and dancing. Pure devotees manifest spiritual bodily symptoms of ecstatic love simply by remembering and reminding others of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who takes away everything inauspicious from the devotee. This position is attained by rendering devotional service according to the regulative principles and then rising to the platform of spontaneous love. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated and chants like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the actual meaning of the Vedanta Sutras. The author of the Vedanta Sutra is Vyasadeva, and he himself has explained those aphorisms in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. The meaning of the Vedanta Sutra is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. The full purport of the Mahabharata is also there. The commentary of the Brahma Gayatri is also there, and fully expanded with all Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme Purana, and it was compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Vyasadeva. There are 12 cantos, 335 chapters, and 18,000 verses. The essence of all Vedic literature and all histories has been collected in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted as the essence of all Vedic literature and Vedanta philosophy. Whoever tastes the transcendental mellow of Srimad Bhagavatam is never attracted to any other literature. At this time, the Brahmana from the province of Maharashtra mentioned Lord Chaitanya's explanation of the Atmarama verse. The Maharashtrian Brahmana stated that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already explained that verse in 61 ways. Everyone was astonished to hear this. When all the people gathered there expressed the desire to hear again the 61 different meanings of the Atmarama Shloka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again explained them. When everyone heard Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation of the Atmarama Shloka, everyone was astonished and struck with wonder. They concluded that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was none other than Lord Krishna himself. After giving those explanations again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arose and took his leave. All the people there offered their obeisances unto him and chanted the Mahamantra. All the inhabitants of Kashi, Varanasi, began chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in ecstatic love. Sometimes they laughed, sometimes they cried, sometimes they chanted, and sometimes they danced. After this, all the Mayavadi sannyasis and learned scholars at Varanasi began discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered them. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then returned to his residence with his personal associates. Thus he turned the whole city of Varanasi into another Navadvip, Nadia Nagara. Among his own associates, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laughingly said, "I came here to sell my emotional ecstatic love. Although I came to Varanasi to sell my goods, there were no customers, and it appeared necessary for me to carry them back to my own country. All of you were feeling unhappy that no one was purchasing my goods and that I would have to carry them away. Therefore, by your will only, I have distributed them without charging." All the Lord's devotees then said, "You have incarnated to deliver fallen souls. You have delivered them in the east and in the south, and now you are delivering them in the west." Only Varanasi was left because the people there were against your missionary activities. Now you have delivered them, and we are all very happy. After the news of these events was broadcast, everyone from the surrounding neighborhoods began to pour in to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hundreds of thousands of people came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was no counting the number, because the Lord's residence was very small. Not everyone could see him. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to take his bath in the Ganges and to see the temple of Vishveshvara, people would line up on both sides to see the Lord. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed by the people, he would raise his arms and say, "Please chant Krishna, please chant Hari." All the people received him by chanting Hare Krishna, and they offered their respects to him by his chanting. In In this way, for 5 days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the people of Varanasi. Finally, on the next day, he became very eager to leave. After rising very early on the 6th day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to leave, and 5 devotees began to follow him. These 5 devotees were Tapana Mishra, Raghunath, the Maharashtrian Brahmana, Chandrasekhara, and Paramananda Kirtaniya. These 5 wanted to accompany Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri, but the Lord attentively bade them farewell. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "If you want to see me, you may come later, but for the time being I shall go alone through the Jharakanda forest." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Sanatana Goswami to proceed toward Vrindavan, and he informed him that his 2 brothers had already gone there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, "All my devotees who go to Vrindavan are generally very poor. They each have nothing with them but a torn quilt and a small water pot. Therefore, Sanatan, you should go and give them shelter and maintain them." After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them all and began to proceed on his way, and they all fainted and fell down. After some time, all the devotees got up and returned to their homes very much grief-stricken. Sanatana Goswami proceeded towards Vrindavan alone. When Rupa Goswami reached Mathura, he met Subudhi Rai on the banks of the Jamuna at a place called Dhruvagat. Formerly, Subudhi Rai had been a big landholder in Godhead, Bengal. Sayyada Hussain Khan was then a servant of Subudhi Rai. Subudhi Rai put Hussain Khan in charge of digging a big lake, but once, finding fault with him, he struck him with a whip. Later, Hussain Khan somehow or other was appointed Nawab by the central Muslim government. As a matter of obligation, he increased the opulences of Subudhi Rai. Later, when the wife of Nawab Sayyada Hussain Khan saw the whip marks on his body, she requested him to kill Subudhi Rai. Hussain Khan replied, "Subudhi Rai has maintained me very carefully. He was just like a father to me. Now you are asking me to kill him? This is not a very good proposal." As a last alternative, the wife suggested that the Nawab take away Subudhi Rai caste and turn him into a Muslim. But Hussain Khan replied that if he did this, Subudhi Rai would not live. This became a perplexing problem for him because his wife kept requesting him to kill Subudhi Rai. Finally, the Nawab sprinkled a little water on Subudhi Rai's head from a pitcher that had been used by a Muslim. Taking the Nawab sprinkling water upon him as an opportunity, Subudhi Rai left his family and business affairs and went to Varanasi. When Subudhi Rai consulted the learned Brahmanas at Varanasi, asking them how his conversion to Islam could be counteracted, they advised him to drink hot ghee and give up his life. When Subudhi Rai consulted some other Brahmanas, they told him that he had not committed a grievous fault and that consequently he should not drink hot ghee and give up his life. As a result, Subudhi Rai was doubtful about what to do. In his state of perplexity, Subudhi Rai met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when the Lord was at Varanasi. Subudhi Rai explained his position and asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu what he should do. The Lord advised him, "Go to Vrindavan and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra constantly. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised Subhadhi Rai, begin chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and when your chanting is almost pure, all your sinful reactions will go away. After you chant perfectly, you will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. When you are situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, no sinful reaction can touch you. This is the best solution to all sinful activity. Thus, receiving the order from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan, Subhadhi Rai left Varanasi and went through Prayag, Ayodhya, and Namisharanga towards Vrindavan. Subhadhi Rai stayed for some time at Namisharanga. During that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Prayag after visiting Vrindavan. After reaching Mathura, Subhadhi Rai received information of the Lord's itinerary. He became very unhappy because he was not able to contact the Lord. Subhadhi Rai would collect dry wood in the forest and take it to the city of Mathura to sell. For each load he would receive 5 or 6 pies. Earning his livelihood by selling dry wood, Subhadhi Rai would live on only 1 pie's worth of fried chickpeas, and he would deposit whatever other pies he had with some merchant. Subhadhi Rai used to spend his savings to supply yogurt to Bengali Vaishnavas who came to Mathura. He also gave them cooked rice and oil massages. When he saw a poverty-stricken Vaishnava, he would use his money to feed him. When Rupa Goswami arrived at Mathura, Subhadhi Rai, out of love and affection for him, wanted to serve him in so many ways. He personally took Rupa Goswami to see all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami remained in Mathura and Vrindavan for 1 month in the association of Subhadhi Rai. After that, he left Vrindavan to search for his elder brother, Sanatana Goswami. When Rupa Goswami heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Prayag on the road along the banks of the Ganges, Rupa and his brother Anupama went that way to meet the Lord. After reaching Prayag, Sanatana Goswami, following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went to Vrindavan along the public road. When Sanatana Goswami met Subhadhi Rai at Mathura, Subhadhi Rai explained everything about his younger brothers Rupa Goswami and Anupam. Since Sanatana Goswami went along the public road to Vrindavan and Rupa Goswami and Anupama went on the road along the Ganges bank, it was not possible for them to meet. Subhadhi Rai and Sanatana Goswami had known each other before accepting the renounced order. Therefore, Subhadhi Rai showed much affection to Sanatana Goswami, but Sanatana Goswami hesitated to accept his sentiments and affections. Okay, we stop here and we read tomorrow further. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Jai Madhya Lila Chapter 25. How all the residents of Varanasi became Vaishnavas Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah.
Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namah.
Gopal Govindalam Sri Madhusudana.
Gopala Govinda Sri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath
Giridhari Gopinath Namah.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Jaya.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri
Sachi Devi Dasi ki jai.